now.
The Congressional Oversight Panel, watching over the bank bailout plan, calls for more transparency and accountability, pressing Treasury Secretary Geithner for a clear exit strategy.
For reaction to today's TARP hearing, we welcome Representative Marsha Blackburn, a Republican from Tennessee. Welcome, Representative Blackburn.
It's good to be with you.
Well,
thanks, Liz.
Good to have you. The markets really seem to like what he said, because no denying they were down about 80 points on the Dow. He started speaking, mentioned TARP, and that he wouldn't mind if banks paid it back under certain circumstances. Boom,
right.
Big turnaround. What did you make of it?
Well, I thought it was interesting that he talks about the banks, letting banks pay this money back, because one thing we are hearing from our constituent banks that took funds, they want to get it back in to the Treasury as fast as they possibly can. I think another thing that was noticeable on the day was he said he wasn't going to come back to Congress and ask for more money. And what we are hearing from constituents and what you're seeing from investors is they don't like all this spending, and that they are very concerned about the increase in the amount of spending that they see put into the bailouts, put into all of these plans, and then the results are just negligible. And, you know, markets are always forward-looking, so maybe they're hopeful that you're not going to see this continued coming to the trough, if you will, and asking for more funds.
Well, they say that they have over $100 billion left over because more money is coming back. Some banks are able to pay back. But would you like to see from either Secretary Geithner, or in fact, are you going to ask specifically for some absolute assurance that they will accept return of payment from these big banks?
Indeed, we would love to see some assurance from them, a statement from them that there is going to be a pathway, that this money can come back on very, very quickly. Banks are wanting that. I think some of our banks have been a bit nonplussed when they've talked with Treasury and said, you know, we want to get onto the road to returning this money to you, and the Treasury has said, no, you need to be keeping that money. So they want some clarity, and they would appreciate a statement of clarity and what that process is going to be. And you know, David, I think the other thing that was of note today, when you look at some of these statements, like the Bank of America statement that was coming out today, the mark-to-market changes. Yeah. Which were a cost-neutral accounting change, and the difference that made in those balance sheets.
Well, Representative, we had somebody on in the last hour, David Joy of RiverSource Management. He oversees $123 billion in assets under management. He flat out said the TARP is working. It looks like it's working. When you hear money people like that in the private sector saying that, does it give you encouragement that there's hope on the horizon, that some correct decisions were made by Congress?
Well, I would hope that there were some correct decisions that were made. I have voted no on every bit of this. It is encouraging that there are some people that feel like those funds helped them. I think it is incumbent upon us to make certain that we have a tremendous amount of transparency as we move forward, as we look at how those TARP funds are used, that we make certain those funds come back in as quickly as they can, that we look at what the participation is from Treasury, the changing from preferred stock to common stock. That gives people a lot of angst. It gives me a lot of angst. I think there's still uncertainty as to what the intention is and what the long-term goal of Treasury is in this, and there's also questions about, do they have a long-term plan? Do they have a strategy for allowing banks to return this money quickly and move on to being free of this federal intervention and to being productive and returning a good yield for their shareholders?
Marsha Blackburn, representing the good folks in Tennessee. Marsha, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you. Thank you.